Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Hey, top of the morning to you. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. Pauly Howard makes his return today. 48-hour bug. How you feeling today, pal? You all right? You okay?
Felt fine. I lost my voice.
Is the throat? Oh,
What's
boy. Where are we at here?
Yeah,
Keep talking. 50%? 60%? What do you got?
You got to carry me. That's where we're at. I have to. I
nothing
can't.
new.
Yeah. Man. 45.
Isn't it frustrating?
It's never happened before.
I mean, because
Felt fine. Nothing was wrong with me. Lost my voice.
I told the story when you were out. This goes back like 10, 12, 13 years ago when I first started dating my now wife. I remember this. We were doing a show together locally here.
Yeah.
And it just was done. Nothing could come out of my mouth. I had to communicate by writing stuff down on paper to her.
Oh, wow.
And it was for like 2 or 3. I'm panicking. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, right?
I have no other skills.
Yeah. Kind of need your voice for this job.
Yeah, maybe. Kind of a tad important.
We have more skills than I do. That's but certainly you were in trouble if that was the case.
Yeah. So, well, let's hope that you're feeling fine, though, on top of everything else.
No issue.
Wow, okay.
Feel great.
On the program today, Nigel Seeley will join us. Soccer bets out of him. Brad Powers at 90 minutes. College football. Mike Palm's in studio today. And we'll talk some fantasy football with Brian Johnson as he is pinch hitting with Paul Charchi. And also, unfortunately, under the weather is Charch. We do have the penultimate Thursday night football game this year in the NFL. And it's a big one because the Rams at DraftKings right now are favored by 4, and the total is 46. Now, it depends on which model you go by when you look at projected playoff odds. And when you look at the actual odds on the board at DraftKings, the Rams, they give them a 55.6% chance to make the playoffs as of right now because they're minus 125. The Saints have a 44.4% chance because they're plus 125 to make it. Pro Football Focus makes the Rams 66% to make it with a win tonight. They drop down to about 12% with a loss, according to their numbers. The Saints would get bumped up to above 70 with the win and around 20% with a loss tonight. It's a massive one for both sides here.
I think the Rams are in if they win because you're not factoring in Week 18, what the Niners are going to do. And I think Shanahan will sit people if they have nothing to play for. So not that long ago, plus 240 to make the playoffs. They're hot. They're playing well. They've won 4 or 5, and the loss was against the Ravens when they should have won that game and got beat in overtime. So peekaboo, Kupp, 100 yards the last 2 games. I think he's way too low at 73.5. What I find interesting is the Saints are taking money here down to 3.5 plus minus 120 on the 3.5. So if the Rams win this game, I think they're going to the playoffs. So beat the Giants, and then I think Shanahan will sit people because I think they're going to win on Christmas. So I love how this offense is humming, and I love how Williams has been there with the rushing attack and the ground game. And oh boy, all of a sudden, the Saints are like 24th against the run. And they've allowed 200 yards rushing in 2 of the last 4 games. And I think the best number is what McVay has done here, that he has closed strong. ATS going back, 10-1-1 ATS at home in December. And I would trust McVay here against Dennis Allen and also the way the Rams are playing, that they're going to get it done and win and make the playoffs.
I'm glad you brought that part of it up because, yes, this sounds very simple, but sometimes it just boils down to, okay, which team has the better coach, which team has the better quarterback. Now, admittedly, we have not been as in love with Sean McVay over the years as the majority of people are, but he is clearly a better coach than Dennis Allen, and the quarterback edge here is also one-sided. Now, Derek Carr did throw 3 touchdowns, no INTs last week. I would also point out the schedule here recently and pretty much the entire year for the Saints. This is why a lot of people like that team and the Falcons this year because it's 2 of the easiest schedules going into the season that we've ever seen, right? So think about the last couple of games here now for New Orleans. They just played the Giants and Tommy DeVito, and they played the Panthers the previous week. So DeVito, and I like the point that you made on Monday, every time they sacked him, they were doing the gestures right on the field. They made it. Everybody was tired of the act. Like, knock it off already. The guy's not a very good quarterback. Stop it. It was a miracle what happened against the Packers, and the Packers defense kind of stinks. And also, that game against the Panthers. Bryce Young is in that offense has been completely broken now for the entire year. So those are the most recent games that we're talking about here defensively for the Saints. And now you're upping it here. You're upping the ante by taking on Matthew Stafford and the Rams, who are playing like really good football on the season. Should have defeated the Ravens a couple of weeks back. That score last week was misleading, even though they covered against the Commanders. Rams are pretty good, and I agree with you. Like, for PFF to make it, and again, they're going model-based here, but 66% to make the playoffs with a win tonight, I think it's much higher than that because you're not factoring in the break that the Rams potentially got from the Eagles losing on Monday night, meaning the Niners now have such a clear edge for the 1 seed, might be something in 2 weeks that's like, okay, now this is a big deal because Shanahan's not going to play everybody for the entire game, is definitely on the horizon.
I guess if I could knock out Minnesota, I would do that too. Which I'd rather see the Rams in than the Vikings because the Vikings beat me. Although it was Kirk Cousins. But I don't know how Shanahan's going to. And do you want 2 weeks off? I don't know. The other thing is there's several guys nicked up. You know, Olave's banged up. Jordan's banged up. Ramchek's banged up. Other guys on the defense are hurt for the Saints. So that's something that you figure they play because it's a playoff game. But are they close to 100%? And if you have a compromised Olave, that's going to be problems too for the passing attack. So I know what you said last week. Carr was 23 of 28, but yeah, come on. You're right. It was the Giants, and he's had a bad year. So does he continue to turn it over? If he does, they're going to lose, and their season's going to be over because then they go to Tampa and they also take on Atlanta. And with that division, I wouldn't rule out Atlanta yet, even though they're up against it 2 games under 500. But now with the quarterback change to Heineke, Colts, Chicago, New Orleans. Not crazy, although Art Smith appears to be coaching for his job finally.
I think so, too. Yep. I think if they lose out, I think he's definitely gone. And if they miss the playoffs, I think he's got to be gone as well. It's been a rough season for him, no doubt, and the Falcons. Now, also, this entire week, the betting splits page on the website, vsin.com, is free when you go check it out. And Steve Makinen here at the network has done a great job with his analytics report every single week. And he's pointed out now the entire year he's been tracking this, specifically using the betting splits at DraftKings, when that number over the last year and a half is more than 65% of the handle on one team. The majority betting group here, the public side, is only 42.9%. And when you look at the betting splits page as we speak, the number of bets on the Rams, 80%. How about number 2 here? The percentage of handle. When it's higher than 63% since the start of 2022, the public is 112 and 132 ATS. That's 45.9%. 88% of the handle as of right now, this morning at DraftKings on the Rams. So,
it's Rams or pass for me. And I wouldn't want to see this team in the playoffs.
No, neither would I.
They could go into Detroit and win. They can go into Philly and win. It didn't go well the first time, but I think they could give Dallas a game. They're just humming offensively. And it's a great coaching job by McVay. And we thought this would be one of the worst teams in the league. Certainly defensively, we thought they'd be awful.
No doubt.
But, they are -2 in the turnover battle this year, too. So to sit where they're at and the injuries that they've had, and you haven't had Kupp and then the emergence of Puka, this is a great job by McVay. And again, not only 10-1-1 at home in December, ATS 17-4-1, last 22 in December. So money time, McVay's getting it done here.
Yep, great job out of him. Stafford's been awesome this year.
Yep.
They found a hell of a pick in Nakua, no doubt, and Kyron Williams, too, has just been, that kid has a chance to single-handedly win like a bunch of fantasy leagues with the way that he's been rolling lately. And, who thought that coming into the season? And his prop tonight is 89.5 rushing yards. That tells you how hot he's been, but also what you said earlier, the Saints can be had on the ground.
Yes, no doubt. I would look at Hill over. It's a big game. I would think you see some gadget stuff. I'm talking about rushing yards, and I don't know what to do with Kamara with his props, though. Go ahead.
I was going to say, would you look at Taysom Hill anytime touchdown?
How about the quarterbacks? How many teams go tush-push at the 1? Stafford's 11-1 to score a touchdown. It's not going to be Carr. They're going to take him off the field.
That's the thing, yeah. That's why Taysom Hill would be intriguing to me.
Yeah, because I saw Carr was 10 as well. I didn't even, what is Hill? Oh, he's only plus 210. Not enough. I would take over rushing yards, though, 16.5, because it's essentially a playoff game for him.
Yeah, yep. And they like to use him a lot, specifically when they get, down inside the 20-yard line. Offensive line rankings going into this game, the Rams at PFF are ranked 17th overall. The Saints are 21st. And now they have some decent pieces on that line, despite being ranked that low. Aaron Donald could be in the backfield tonight. And, that's Captain Obvious checking in here. But based on the overall matchup and how big this game is and how that guy steps up in big... I mean, he was so good in their Super Bowl run. I thought he should have been the MVP of that game against the Bengals a couple years ago when they won it all. But that guy could be all over the field tonight and making a mess of what the Saints are trying to do offensively. So, I mean, if it comes down to the coach and the quarterback combo, again, I think it's such a clear edge for the Rams in this game.
Agree.
Dennis Allen has done nothing in his career to make you think, this guy, I can trust him in a big spot.
The menu's incredible tonight, too, at DraftKings. There's so many props you can bet and so much stuff that I like. And I see Kupp 73.5, and he's had 100 yards the last 2 games.
Yeah.
When it's money time, he's going to him. This is it now. So I think he has a big game, too, for the Rams, and they win.
I think Stafford has been really, really good this year. Like, underrated good.
Ravens couldn't stop him.
No.
Look what they did to Jacksonville.
For him.
Right. They could not get off the field in that game.
Yep, that's right. So it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. In 15 minutes, we're going to have a discussion, end of the year discussion, and part of it is going to be what you would like to see change in sports betting in 2024. You can always tweet us at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard with your suggestions on that. Pauly's going to run down last night's betting action and win some, lose some coming up next. And so far, the upsets in this conference in college basketball are happening on a nightly basis.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Another one for the Clippers. That's 9 in a row and 14 of 17. ABS, always be shopping. They were plus 550 to win the division 2 weeks ago. They're now in first place in the Pacific. Kawhi Leonard getting it done, and they've won 14 of 17 since Bill Simmons tweeted this won't work. It's a horrible trade, and they're not going anywhere with Harden.
Oh, that's stunning.
Yeah.
So they are absolutely for real. That lineup is like the second best lineup in the entire league again. Small sample size, but we get it.
Number 2 in net since the losing streak.
Yep.
And Harden said, it's going to be scary when we figure it out.
And they evidently have at this point. Really good win last night. No Paul George. So what happens tonight now?
I know, tough.
Back-to-back against the Thunder.
Catching 4.
I'm guessing Paul George sat out last night so we could play tonight. Does Kawhi play, though? And he's been doing the back-to-backs this year so far. And he's been great. They're really, really good, man.
They're humming offensively. Kings Celtics over. 232 up to 236.5. Boston with a 144. Ran out the Kings. Villanova 3-1. Beat Creighton. Seton Hall from 11 down to 7. Plus 280 beat UConn. Gonzaga over 150.5 up to 154.5. That was 100-76. Hockey, go on the first 10 thanks to Ian Duncan. At home, Tampa 9 in a row. St. Louis 9-1. Seattle 14-2. That's all go on the first 10 at home. Yes, on the road, Ottawa 10-1. Overall, St. Louis 22-3. Chicago 20-4. Go on the first 10. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. Little soccer. Put the dog in goal. He'll stop everything. Look at him. They put him. Not a problem. Give me that. He's got it. Yeah. Not up here. You're not scoring on me. Grab the ball. Got it? All right, I'll start the offense now. Wagging the tail. They had no answer for him. The dog playing keeper. And he was shutting everybody down. Nice exercise. Now, this is also more impressive. How about the dogs jumping rope here? Halftime entertainment. 3 dogs, 2 of them with the rope in their mouth, and the other one's going to jump the rope. And here we go. Synchronized, lock it up, piece of cake. The owner chiming in, helping out. And it's a thing of beauty. I give it an A+. skipping rope.
So I get the
That is
NBA.
awesome.
I get the NBA package, and they will
Right.
keep the feed on.
You are correct.
The
Yes.
home feeds, right? Whenever you watch during commercials and at halftime.
Yep.
You never know what's going to be the halftime entertainment. What I was watching the Star Wars thing last night with the Pacers game.
How good was that? Miles Turner coming up. Yep.
The lady who was dancing and doing the painting of Darth Vader.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a Star Wars person, but it was dynamite.
Yep.
So
Yep. Lose some. Kings plus 2.5. Went off a 3-point favorite. Routed by Boston. Cal Irvine, New Mexico under 152. Over 152 up to 156. That was 78 to 65. Couple lose some video. You know, the guy's out here. He's got a view. He's sitting looking at the beach, checking out the water.
oh, this is great.
And he's got his sandwich. And here comes the bird. Can't catch a break. He takes a bite. He's looking at it. I'm going in for bite number 2. And the bird swoops in and grabs the whole thing. What are the odds?
Now that is flawless execution there.
Oh, it is. And he nailed it. I mean, he's coming in hot.
You have one chance here, one opportunity.
That's right. And he grabs the sucker. That's incredible
Well,
video.
job well done.
Yep. It's a tough way to start your day. Looks like a little breakfast sandwich, right? And he only gets one bite, and he's looking for bite number 2, and then in comes the bird. Look at him. I'm like, can you believe this? No, I can't. And I can't believe this is outrageous. Guys at the buffet, breakfast buffet at the hotel, barefoot.
Pajamas.
Yeah, PJs, barefoot. Unbelievable. Sick. I can't believe someone crawl out of bed, can't put slippers, something?
No, nothing.
No. All I want for the holidays is some NBA action. New customers get 150 instantly in bonus bets for just betting $5. Download the app, use code FOLLOW. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Code FOLLOW. Great menu. The crowd is yours.
Okay, so it's trending in the right direction for one Los Angeles basketball team. How about the other? The Lakers are now 15-13 on the year. They are currently the number 9 seed in the West. They are 1-4 since the in-season tournament championship game out here against the Pacers.
Pacers also bad.
Yep, and their one win was against the Spurs, who are 4-22, and they have the worst record in the entire Western Conference. Now, it's a weird schedule spot for both teams because I'm guessing the Lakers got to Minneapolis this morning earlier than the T-Wolves. Now, their game finished up a little bit later than Minnesota last night, but Minnesota played at Philadelphia. The Lakers got blown out in the second half by the Bulls in Chicago, and now they play tonight in Minneapolis. And it's a tough, tough spot here for the Lakers to be in a back-to-back. And I don't think the T-Wolves are going to be in a very good mood either.
Yep.
Because what Embiid did to Gobert and company last night, what he sent a message again. And that guy wants to win the MVP. And at this point, I can't even argue with him. That's 12 straight games where he's had 30 points and at least 10 rebounds. It hasn't happened since Jabbar back in the early 70s. And then Chamberlain did it as well once. The run that he is on, and he made it a point to get 50 again last night. He missed for those of you who missed the game, he's 17 of 17 from the free throw line. If he makes number 18, he has number 50. He missed it. They got the rebound. He shot it, made it for points number 50 and 51. He then purposely fouled immediately so he could be taken out of the game. And then he's going to the crowd. He's like, all right, here we go. Let's raise the roof on this bad boy.
They played an easy schedule. He's put up great numbers. Certainly what happened last year probably going to affect voters, too, what he did. Disappeared playoff time. But it goes back to Michael Jordan. You're going to give it to Joker every year, who was having a better year than last year, but now he had a bad run for a couple weeks. But Luka's in the discussion. SGA, no doubt. And here comes Kawhi Leonard, too. So it's been a great start to the season. The last couple weeks have been fantastic.
Yep.
And we got 5 games on Christmas. You know what Freak's been doing and putting numbers he's putting up. So also from a future standpoint, I jumped in. I got the futures on Minnesota. You put me on that, like 5-6 to 1 to win the division, 66 to 1 futures as well. And they are like plus 150. Plus they're the favorites to get the 1 seed at DraftKings. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had if you want to call it a comfortable lead at this point of the season. Okay, fine. It's still plenty of basketball left. I'm also on the flip side very impressed with Philadelphia. I think this team, for the first time, they've never gotten out of the second round with Embiid here. I think this year, this team, and they're going to make a move. And don't forget about the upgrade at coach now, going from Doc Rivers to Nick Nurse. And Maxey is playing out of his mind again. They were the only 2 players in double figures last night for the 76ers. That was it. And they took it to the Wolves. And the Wolves led in the third quarter, and the Sixers beat them up badly, by the way, in the fourth quarter. and Gobert was completely frustrated. That does not happen to that team defensively. And Embiid made it a point last night to really put his foot down and say, enough's enough.
I wonder if the Knicks will trade for Mitchell. I don't think it's a great fit because you really walked into something here with Brunson's awesome.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
But the Knicks have to make a trade because the Knicks have some pieces and could do something as well. And then certainly what the Cavs are around 500, and Mitchell won't sign there long term. So you got Mobley out, you got Garland out. So I'd look for a trade coming up too, probably with the Cavs, and we'll see if the Knicks do something. The Knicks got to get a superstar.
Yeah, we kicked this around too when you were out the other day. JVT noticed that one NBA reporter suggested that the asking price on the Utah side for Lauri Markkanen is going to be 5 first-round picks. It's going to be a combination of what they got for Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Yeah,
Come on.
Would any team in the right... Now, he's a really good player and a nice piece, and if he's like the third best player on a championship team, that's great. But would any team seriously consider going down that path? I think 5 first-round picks for him?
No.
That's not happening.
No. Just because one team made a mistake, that doesn't mean that's the asking price.
Yeah, right.
From, in perpetuity. That's asinine. I think Murray will be gone, too, for Atlanta. You see how bad they're playing?
Okay.
That's another one. So Atlanta's got to shake things up.
I'm making the case yesterday, and in pocket, and I had Houston -3, and they go 3.5 in the game. You see what happened last night? I lost the bet. The Hawks were 6-20 ATS on the year.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's 11-1 at home.
Yep.
They come out, they scored 39 points in the first quarter. The Hawks did 38 in the second. They had 13 threes at halftime. The Rockets had 1, I believe.
Okay.
They also had 8 threes in the first. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I'm catching Atlanta on this kind of a night. Then the Rockets came back and outscored them by 14 in the third quarter to take the lead. I have the lead laying 3.5 in that game going into the fourth quarter. Before I could blink, the Hawks were up by 20 again.
Is that what happened?
Like what? That's like the most typical roller coaster NBA game that you're ever... And that happens all the time. But to lose like that, where I'm catching the Hawks on a night where they could not miss, and my team was horrific offensively, couldn't get stops either. But that's how you lost the bet, yeah.
Maybe they're looking at the wrong guy. Maybe you could trade Trae Young.
Well, they're not going to do that the way he's playing. I know what you're saying, like defensively.
Where am I going? I mean,
you're going nowhere.
I know. I'll be
You're going
500.
absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. I had one deep playoff run, but that's...
What you see is what you get with him and that team.
Yeah.
Great offensively, but other than that, up next, Bet-a-Kit, rules to live by in sports betting, and what needs to change in sports betting in 2024. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to check out VSiN's betting splits but don't have a VSiN Pro subscription? This week we're giving away access to the betting splits for free. It's updated with DraftKings odds every 5 minutes. You can see changes in all the action. Find out where the public's betting based on the number of tickets and where the money doesn't match the public opinion. You can check out future events as well. Free access to the betting splits all week. VSiN.com/splits.
All right, with the holidays upon us, Pauly, an end-of-the-year discussion. Always a fun one to get into. First off, what did you learn during your very lengthy run in Circa Survivor this year regarding Bet-a-Kit or rules to live by with sports betting?
I'm not going to do interviews again. I believe in the jinx, superstitious stuff, gambling gods. I also found it troubling that so many people ask, what are you going to do with the money if we got a long ways to go? How does that enter how can you say that to somebody for $9 million? Are you going to quit your job? What are you going to do with the money? People who worked here said that. Disappointing. You can also, I will look at it from that standpoint. But as we've always talked about, the old Steve Sear line with Bet-a-Kit, looking good here when your team's up double digits in the fourth quarter of an NBA game.
Oh, it's so brutal.
I saw Wayne Morgan, friend of the show, tweeted this with the ODU nonsense. We got a couple good calls. It's a lock. Nice call on this one. It's in the bag. Third quarter stuff. I mean, it's stuff like that where you just have to, Bet-a-Kit and silly stuff. And
can I hop in on the ODU bowl game?
The jinx is real. I agree with Wayne Morgan.
So we talked about that game the day of the bowl game. Old Dominion, Western Kentucky. Old Dominion was bet up to like 6.5 at one point before money showed on Western Kentucky in that game. All I did on the air that day was point out that in the Friday night football betting invitational here at Circa, that 4 people remaining were on ODU when that number was 2.5. That's all I said. I never once mentioned I'd still bet Old Dominion. I said I never once said go bet them right now, chase the points. I never said that. I got a tweet when they were up 28-0. Great call today on Old Dominion. Thank you for doing that.
Oh.
I'm like I never said to go bet it. I just pointed out that the people were on them at 2.5. You can't do that. That's like almost rule number 1. And the point that you're bringing up is when you got that text, you had the Bucks at 100-1.
Yeah.
That 1 year to win the NBA title.
Yeah.
Hey, pal, you're looking good.
I'm in Eastern Conference Finals. Yep. Now I'm up 10 points late in the third quarter. They blew it anyways, but sure, absolutely. The other one, too, and this one doesn't get talked enough about. If let's say we're on the same game, or like Paul Allen pointed out with his years at Canterbury Downs, if we're on the same horse. If you have $500 on something and I have 50, I shouldn't be the one that's loud and boisterous and okay?
And rubbing it in people's faces.
Right. That's if we're especially if we're on a different horse or on the different side of a game. Like if we bet the Browns-Texans game, I'm on the Texans, you're on the Browns. If you have 500 on it and I have 50, just shut up.
Of course.
Don't be that. You always notice the guy who's making all the noise at the track or the guy at the sports book usually is the parlay or $10 better. Yep. Meanwhile, the guy next, it's like, okay, I got 500 on it. Just root for your game, but don't make a lot of noise.
Yep, well said. Here are things that need to change in 2024, in my opinion, for sports betting. And you can always tweet the show at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard. I don't know exactly how it works with every app in every other jurisdiction, but out here in Nevada, we do have a couple of apps they have the Face ID set up, so it's very simple. Most apps, though, don't have the Face ID, so then you got to do the 19-character sign in with the password every single time. Man, is that agitating, because out here as well, there's like if you don't pay attention to an app for like 5 minutes, they'll log you back out, and then you got to go through the same exact process. It's really annoying and a nuisance. And that ties into, I'm really jealous of other states where you can bet on this guy right here.
Yep.
On your desktop or your laptop.
Frank B's biggest complaint.
That is such, and I used to have 20/15 vision. My vision has been eroding over the last 5 to 6 years. Bad. Never had to wear glasses in my life. Have had glasses for now the last 3 or 4 years. It sucks. I mean, it really does. So being on my phone like that, as often as I am, I don't want to do that. If we have access, if we can have the capability of having that access to a laptop or a computer, desktop, it's so much easier and so much more convenient. And I'll tell you, the first book that offers that in Nevada, that's where I'm going to probably do most of my betting at. I mean, even though, based on if the numbers make sense, because it's so much easier to have that up in front of you. And it also ties into, you can be on it and logged in longer. Also clean up the spinning.
Oh my God, it's got to go.
And the lag time.
I got to give Circa a lot of credit. That never spins, ever. You make your bet, bam, it goes right in.
Right in.
They only will notify you if there's been a line move, juice, whatever, or the line moved or the total. I made a $3,000 bet at 4 a.m. Right in on an NFL game. Incredible.
Yeah.
We need to have an agreement with the customer and the sports book. If it's under $200 and it's not like a long shot, the bet has got to go in. What's the spinning for? Why does it take 2 minutes?
Sure. It doesn't make any sense. That's going to be the number one complaint from the audience for sure, is that they need to know limits. And more and more books are doing that, because if you punch in like whatever number you want to get to, a lot of times it will tell you like, okay, that's beyond the limit, or we're okay with that bet. But still, to this day, it's not happening everywhere, and it needs to. I'll give you an example. It was one of the bowl games I wanted to bet right away. They would take $2,000 on the bowl game the day the game was released. They would take up to $2,000. But on an NBA game that night, they'd only take to win $300. So, but at least I know, right? It's weird. It's a football game compared to the NBA, so there might be that breakdown as well. But at least you kind of know. I mean, it sucks, but at least you kind of know what your parameters are set at to that point. So that's going to be number one for sure, is knowing the max bet that's going to be available on what's available. And also, I will point out the deals with networks and leagues, too. There's got to be some technology out there where the delay is going to be under a minute now because so much of this stuff is going to streaming. And for sports betting in particular, that, as we all know, is a really big deal. Also, the injury reports, who's starting and who's not. I don't know, is there a time limit? Like on a primetime game in the NFL, does it need to be 3 o'clock? Just say, that's it. You got to make up your mind by then. We need to know. None of this game time decision. We're 5 minutes before kickoff and we don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be.
Monday night's a bad look and troubling. With ESPN Bet now, with Schefter's report, the line and total moved.
That's right.
And then, Geno Smith isn't playing. He just moved the line to 2 points and the total moved 2 points.
Yeah, we're getting feedback right now basically saying that betting on the laptop and desktop is so much easier. It's so much easier to shop lines.
Yes.
When you can have, and that's another thing too. You don't have to go from app to app on your phone, and then you might get logged out and you got to log back in. You can have 8, 10, 12, open windows at a time, and then just toggle in between them. It's so much easier. That has to happen.
You like my stand down though? One of the biggest ones that people. If you have a ticket to win 2,000 and I have a ticket to win 200,
without question,
stand down.
Without question.
Quit making noise and just don't say anything.
This is feedback from Jason. He wants universal rules across states, meaning you can't bet awards or New York State colleges in the state of New York. Right? I mean, that stinks. I mean, you can't, anywhere in New York at a legal sports book, you cannot bet awards. Award betting is very popular. Yeah. NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball at a minimum. Not even to mention the NHL and some of the stuff in soccer that you can find as well. And we were asked to also rank our best times to come out here. I'll tie in weekends with holidays as it is a holiday season. I'll give you my top 5. And I'll go in reverse order here. I actually think Thanksgiving week has turned into a monster out here in Las Vegas because it's so big going on. In the NFL, college football is rivalry week, and all the college basketball tournaments are starting. And if you want to go to a game, a lot of the tournaments are out here in Las Vegas as well. Thanksgiving week has to be in the top 5. I have Super Bowl at number 4. If you've never done it before, it'll be higher than that. If you have done it, then you can cross it off your list. It's also very busy and very expensive for a lot of people to come out here that week, and that's why I have it number 4. But to be out here in Las Vegas for the big game, you got to do it at least once. I have opening weekend of March Madness ahead of the Super Bowl. Because it's 4 days and it's nonstop with the games. Mm-hmm. I have Labor Day weekend number 2. The weather is awesome in Las Vegas, and it's the beginning of the college football season, and you have Monday off. So that's huge. And Paul, we've been preaching this now for years on this show. I have championship week in college basketball number 1. And as we've said, again, to tie in, it's more affordable to come out here with hotel rooms. Restaurants aren't going to jack up the prices either. And you have from basically Tuesday until Saturday games nonstop in college basketball. And it's not nearly as busy, so you get the book kind of all by yourself.
I would put Wild Card Weekend on there.
It's growing.
With 6 playoff games
it's
now.
Huge, yep.
And that triple header Sunday.
I don't disagree. That's got to be up there on the list as well, somewhere. I didn't have a top 5, but that's like honorable mention for sure. Up next on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Player props for Thursday Night Football. Wait until you hear how bad it's been this season. I'll give you the list. Try not to laugh. Next.
Juice Reel, free betting intelligence app and a tool every bettor needs. It links your betting accounts into one app, delivers in-depth analytics on your betting history, access to the betting history of billions of bets placed by all Juice Reel users, billions of data points, enables you to tail the winners and fade the losers with their betting analytics. Find out for yourself. Juice Reel, R-E-E-L. Download the free app in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. It is free. Juice Reel, R-E-E-L.
Good reaction, strong reaction on X. Email is also open at ftm@vsin.com on what you would like to see change in sports betting in 2024. And from New York, plenty of reaction saying you guys hit it on the head. The awards betting nonsense has to come to a halt. Like, we have to have awards betting in New York. And also, we're getting big reaction that when you live in a certain state that does not allow college betting, boy, is that on the home state teams, is that frustrating?
The best one is so far, though, stop asking for refunds. You're allowed to bet an under. So that's part of the game with injuries.
Yep.
And if it's a prime time game, that person who gets hurt is always trending. It just, you're begging for refunds when someone gets hurt early in a game is it's how it goes.
Yep. And this is a good tweet from Nash. He sent his buddies a Brock Purdy to win MVP at 80-1 ticket a while back. They did not take it with me. They said this week, congrats on the ticket. I replied, don't speak to me during the rest of the football season. Luke, our producer, said he was going back and forth with a buddy of his, sending each other like bets. And his friend would say all the time, hey, man, great call. Congratulations. When the game's still going on. Luke finally said, I had to cut it off. I shut off the faucet. No more.
When did you get that? At the ODU? Third quarter? Second quarter?
They were up 28-0, I want to say.
Right.
I didn't even say, I didn't even say I was pointing out what people were betting when it was a different number.
That's unbelievable.
It's incredible.
It won't have. Great call here. Yeah, nice call. Congrats on your win. The other one, you're going to get a lot of this, too, with the family. And just be prepared on Christmas. 5 NBA and 3 NFL games. You're going to get, with the neophytes, you're going to get weird questions, obvious questions, annoying questions. You're going to get a lot of that, too, with the family, and people don't really know about, you like the Chiefs, huh? 17-0, third quarter. Nice job.
Awesome.
You'll get plenty of that on Christmas.
I was watching the Raiders-Chargers game on that Thursday night here at Circa, and I'm up top, and I'm by myself, and there's a person next to me.
Oh, this is good.
And it's the Raiders score to go up 14-0, and the Chargers fumbled again. Raiders recovered, at which point the person next to me says to his girlfriend or wife, I told you we should have bet on the Raiders. Yeah, you've been sitting here the entire time not discussing one word about the game, and all of a sudden it's 14-0, their ball deep inside. Yeah, we should have had a bet. I knew it. Huh? Yeah, you did.
Everyone knows the final score after the fact.
I want to ask you this question. Is this does it mean anything? Is it meaningless overall? Am I grasping at straws here? So the Saints get the Rams and Matthew Stafford tonight. And when you look overall at some of the advanced numbers with the Saints on defense, for example, their DVO defensively is 13th overall. They're 8th against the pass. And when you look against like certain receivers, wide receiver number 1's their 6th best DVOA. Against running backs are the 2nd best team in the entire league when it comes to defending them through the air. Well, when you look back at the quarterbacks in which the Saints have played this year, how misleading are those numbers? And we'll go in reverse order here with who they saw last week and who they played. It was Tommy DeVito, who was smoke and mirrors, and they happened to play bad Green Bay defense the Monday night before, and he was running, and he had more than 70 yards, and they won the game, so looked good, and it was a Jeremy Lin type story. It was Tommy DeVito. Before that, it was Bryce Young. Before that, they played Jared Goff. They lost 33-28. Desmond Ridder. Remember the Joshua Dobbs game against the Vikings? They lost that 27-19, had no solution there. Tyson Bagent. Gardner Minshew. They played Trevor Lawrence on a Thursday. It was a terrible schedule spot for the Jaguars. Jacksonville got him 31-24. It was never that close. C.J. Stroud in Week 6. It was Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. In Week 4, it was Baker Mayfield. They lost 26-9. He had 3 touchdowns. They played Jordan Love and lost, gave up a 17-0 second-half lead. That was Jordan Love's 3rd game of his career, basically, of the season. Bryce Young and Ryan Tannehill. That's the list of quarterbacks they've played.
I like the Rams. An hour ago, now I love the Rams. That's... that stands out.
That's pathetic.
Yep, they've also been the best team on the road since 2018. They're 3-4 straight up this year. They beat Bryce Young and they beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
So that's another one. So you see how it's gone when they faced above-average quarterbacks. And I don't know what has happened defensively. Getting gashed on the ground, and here are 4 big weapons tonight with the Rams. You're not going to be able to shut down the rushing attack. And then I got Puka and Kupp with 100 yards the last 2 games. And McVay has been awesome at home, ATS in December. So that's I don't think they'll have any problems moving it on them tonight. I mean, they moved it on San Francisco in that first game.
I went back and looked at that game, and I'm like, the Rams were actually pretty good there.
Yeah.
Against the 49ers in that matchup. So, and then, again, I'll flip it here and say that, the Rams took on the Commanders' defense last week, so they have the worst passing defense in football, and they got out to a huge lead. But to your point earlier in the show, Pauly, they should have won at Baltimore. And Stafford was really good in that game. And
rain elements.
Right, that's right. And you can make the case that I think that Matthew Stafford is having an incredible season for this team. And he's been banged up again. He missed the Green Bay game, which who knows what happens there. If they won that game, then they'd be probably sitting at a very strong number to make the playoffs today. They'd have that tiebreaker over Green Bay, although Green Bay is now 6-8 and more than likely out of it, the whole thing together. But
see, Minnesota has a great conference record, but I don't think Minnesota's going to win 2 more games.
I think it's very tough for them.
Maybe Detroit sits it out week 18, but I don't know. But the whole thing with this, I think the Rams win tonight, and I think they beat the Giants, and then I think Shanahan might sit guys at least for a half in week 18. Olave's 15th in yards in the slot, but he's nicked up, but he looks good at 60.5 over. I like Kupp over 73.5. I like largest lead under 14.5. I like longest touchdown under 39.5. And this is, juicy, but I like both teams with a touchdown and a field goal. Minus $2.
Okay.
I like all that tonight in a big game.
I want to tie this in, too. Nick Sirianni, this is after the Monday night game, the loss to the Seahawks, when they took a deep shot to A.J. Brown, end of the game. This is becoming more and more of a thing because I think coaches now, they've realized over the last couple of years, like when the Colts did it that 1 year with Carson Wentz, we can throw it deep. We'll underthrow the receiver. He'll come back. He'll get defended. And the guy's going to hit him and knock him down. It's going to be pass interference. We'll take the 45-yard penalty. This was Nick Sirianni talking about that's exactly what they wanted to do at the end of that game on Monday night.
Why take a shot downfield in that situation where a shorter completion could have gotten you into field goal range?
Yeah, there's at times there, Tim, we've seen, you can get a pass interference there. It was what it was on that particular play, but if you get a pass interference call there and if a team's giving you a one-on-one shot, for very similar to what happened on the other side of the ball, they ended up getting a one-on-one shot that had some different things there, and we've seen it. We had one-on-one shot against the Rams, and you can get a pass interference, and now you're in position to kick it. So we have some of the best receivers in the NFL outside, and so there's times where you're going to do that, and we felt like in that situation we had an opportunity to. It didn't work out that particular time.
Again, that's why the rule has to change. Because a game is going to end like that. When a team scores to take a lead with 30 seconds left, and their only option is to throw it deep, the opposing team wants to get the ball back, and there's going to be a total BS PI call that is a 53-yard spot foul, and now they're set up in field goal range to win the game.
They didn't have to do that, though. You have a good kicker with a big leg. You had timeouts.
He also made that game winner in like the...
From 54 against Washington or whatever it was?
That one, and also the one against Buffalo, I think.
Yeah, right.
That was not an easy kick.
You have Elliott. There's no need to do that. You could have dink and dunk and get in field goal range. The other one is they're very predictable. When Christian McCaffrey can tell you what they're playing or what they're going to run out of what formation, you got issues.
Yeah.
They're running the same. They're running 6 plays, it looks like. That's it.
Yep. So I can't stand the rule. And
yeah, that shouldn't be your thought process.
Back to my point from a couple of weeks back when CeeDee Lamb was wide open and Dak hit him right in the hands on that 4th down play against Seattle and he drops it. It's no sure thing that the guy's going to catch the ball. Mm-hmm. That's an asinine thought process. So, and Mike Pereira has been screaming from the mountaintops for years. You got to change the rule. They won't listen. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. A packed second hour of today's program. Huge weekend in bowls. Brad Power is going to join us in about 35 minutes to break it all down. And up next, Nigel Seeley on the Prim, and also maybe a lower league bet as well from him coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.